When I found you, I found somebody who cares. When I found you, found my most intimate prayer. When I found you, I found what every heart dreams of. When I found you, I found found love. When I found you, I found the rest of my life. When I found you, I told all others goodbye. When I found you, I saw my fears fly away like a dove. When I found you, I found love. I know true love sounds crazy, but worth waiting for. You are the one, my only, forevermore. When I found you, I found my fate in your arms. When I found you, I found no cause for alarm. When I found you, I knew this love was a gift from above. When I found you, I found love, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know true love sounds crazy, but worth waiting for. You are the one, my only, forevermore. When I found you, I found a scholar with style. When I found you, found one more reason to smile. When I found you, I knew I finally found enough. When I found you, I found love. Yeah, I did. When I found you, I found love. When I found you, I found love. I found love.
Good night, good night, good night. Welcome to Couples Night from Brownstown Tabernacle, a member church of the Jamaica Evangelistic Mission. We are located at 38 Top Road, Brownstown, St. Anne, Jamaica. We are delighted to be able to come to you once again. We're sharing with you on this our couples night. We had a little technical difficulty earlier, but thank God that has been sorted out and we are with you. We want to thank the Lord for this wonderful opportunity we have of being with you once again. We stream live each night on Facebook at Brownstown Tabernacle Church. Also on your YouTube channel at Brownstown Tabernacle. Of course, on Sundays on Instagram at Brownstown Tabernacle. A weekly schedule of online sessions. Monday at 9, Couples Night. Tuesday at 9, Singles Night. However, as of Wednesday, July 1, we're going to make some changes. Our Bible study will be at 5 to 6 And our prayer meeting will be 6 to 7. All right? So as of this Wednesday, going forward, our Bible study will be 5 to 6. We'll be in the church. And our prayer meeting will be 6 to 7. So we're not going to be having the 9 to 10 in the night prayer meeting. We're having it earlier so more people can be a part of it. All right? And on Thursday at 9 p.m., of course, the counselor. Friday, 9, Bible quiz competition. Sunday mornings at 9:30, Sunday school. Sundays at 11, worship service. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for tonight. Thank you for the opportunity we have of sharing with your precious people. We ask your blessings on every couple that will be tuned in tonight. Every single person who will be tuned in. We pray your blessings on us. Talk to us, teach us, inspire us, motivate us. Lord God, we pray every couple will walk away tonight with a commitment to fulfill the discussion items from tonight's program. And so bless us together in Jesus' name. Amen. 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 All right. So, on a Monday night, we have a special love song that we share with the couples. And last week, as soon as we were through, yes, one wife texted in and said, next week, Pastor, I want you to play this song, Write Your Name Across My Heart. Yes? And let me remind you, if you have a love song you would love for us to share, then you may send it to me by WhatsApp. My number is 421-4675. Just send me that special love song we can share with the rest of us. I want you to just to take the time now to share. Share the program with your friend, with your coworker, with your neighbor, with your church brother, your church sister. This program is geared to all couples, wherever they are across the world, irrespective of denomination, irrespective, of class, color, creed. This is a program geared towards enriching marriages. So we want as many couples as possible, yes, to be a part of it and to get what we have to share. And of course, the singles, we want as many of them to get as well because they are being prepared for marriage themselves. So do take the time to share as our engineers share with us this special song, Write Your Name Across My Heart.
I can't help smiling when I look at you. To keep from going crazy is all I can do. I'm so defenseless with you so close. The walls have crumbled from my body and soul. Write your name across my heart. I want the world to know that I am yours forever. And I'll wear it like a shining star. Write your name across my heart. Oh, yeah. For you, my life is an open door. Everything I have is yours. I'll try to give you everything you need. But as far as love goes, there's a lifetime write your name across my heart. I want the world to know that I am yours forever. And I'll wear it like a shining star. Write your name across my heart. I'll wear it like a shining star. Write your name across my heart. Across my
All right, thanks to Kenny Rogers. Write your name across my heart. That's a request our sister Natrice Edwards Mitchell made. And I see her creating all kinds of excitement on Facebook. But she has selected a song that is relevant for all of us, that expresses our love and our excitement for our own spouses, for our spouses. All right, so tonight, yes, we want to look at the third basic need of the man in detail. What's that need? Yes, every husband has a need for an attractive spouse. He needs a good-looking wife. Every man has the need for an attractive spouse. Yes, he needs a good-looking wife. So let me start off tonight with a story of Nancy and Harold. So, at 26 years old, weighing 190 pounds, Nancy seldom had dates. 4 in the last 2 years, to be exact, and no calls back after the first one. Her prospects for marriage seemed bleak, to say the least. Even though she had a charming personality and many interests, few men wanted to date her. One day, Nancy decided she had to make a change. She wanted to marry, and she was tired of her job. If I had someone to take care of me, she thought, I could quit the job and stay home all day. I'd like that. As her first tactic in achieving that goal, Nancy enrolled in an exercise program, went on a diet, and lost 80 pounds. Next, she bought some new clothes that nicely accentuated her slender figure, a new hairdo, and appropriate makeup completed the transformation. With 80 pounds gone and the other improvements, Nancy became a real knockout. Now she had dates right and left. But she had not forgotten her goal, a husband. About 8 months later, when Harold proposed, she said yes. She had achieved her goal with great speed. Dr. Willard F. Harley says, when I counseled Nancy and Harold about 5 years later, I started by speaking to them separately. Harold told me the first thing she did after we were married was to quit her job. Then she stayed home, eating like mad all day. She blew up like a balloon. In 1 year, she gained about 100 pounds. Have you said anything about her weight? I ask. Yes, many times. In fact, it's a sore point between us. But she just says, I want you to love me for who I am. If you'd love me and accept me unconditionally, then I could easily lose the weight. I'm getting fed up. Harold continued. I don't know where to turn. I don't believe in divorce, but I can't handle this, and something has to happen. As we continued to talk, I could see Harold faced a real dilemma. Reared in a conservative church, he held strong convictions about marriage being a commitment for life. But whereas he had once looked forward to a happy future with a wife everyone seemed to admire, now life with Nancy seemed like a prison sentence. Marriage to this woman had hardly lived up to his expectations. Where had he gone wrong? Next, I talked to Nancy to get her side. She told me about her self-improvement program to get dates and a husband. Nancy had never told Harold that she had once weighed so much or that she didn't think she could keep the weight off after marriage. For her, dieting had been an agony, and even keeping slim was too great a sacrifice, for it was for life. When she married Harold, she thought he would love her regardless of her weight, and she could go back to being fat and happy. So when he told her he was leaving if she didn't lose weight, she felt he was being unfair. Things didn't seem fair to Harold either. He had married someone physically appealing and assumed she'd stayed that way. Nancy had thought that once Harold got to know and love her, her weight would no longer matter to him. But she was wrong. Granted, some men do not care about physical appearance. Their wives can be overweight or underweight. It makes no difference. They have other emotional needs that are far more important than the need for an attractive spouse. But Nancy had not married one of these men. In fact, she had married a man for whom physical appearance was at the very top of his list. He needed an attractive wife. And so, Dr. Willard F. Harley, in his book, His Needs, Her Needs, How to Build an Affair-Proof Marriage, he says, after counseling thousands of couples, he found that there are 5 basic needs every woman has, 5 basic needs every man has. And he says the third basic need a man has is for his wife to be an attractive woman. Yes? He needs a good-looking wife. That's a need that a man has. So let's have a conversation tonight. And this conversation I'm having is try to look the way her husband likes her to look. She should resemble the woman he married. If your husband tells you that your loss of weight would meet one of his most important emotional needs, you must decide if you care enough about your husband to meet his emotional need. So you and I have to begin. Yes? So all the wives need to begin to listen to their husbands. Listen to your husband and hear what he is saying, because when we talk about needs, needs are things you can't do without. Wants are things you can do without. And a man needs his wife to be attractive. So why all this fuss? It is a need that a husband has. So listen to your husband. Hear what he has to say. All right? You know, it's amazing how A lot of wives today, before they got married, like Nancy, spent a lot of time fixing up themselves nicely, and they really look hot and nice and attractive and, yeah, look real good. And after they get married, they have won the prize. So they just throw up themselves. Anything happen. They eat all that they shouldn't eat, yes? And they no longer are very careful about diet, no longer pay attention to exercising, and they begin to put on weight. They begin to wear clothes that are not accentuating them, don't make them look good, and it becomes a problem because their husbands are seeing many attractive persons around them, and their wives are just throwing up themselves. Anything happen because they're married already. No, we are saying, wives, stop tonight. Stop tonight. And take note, because you're doing your husband a disservice if you have stopped paying attention to how you look, how you dress. So, we're going to talk further. Wives, understand this. When you look good, your husband feels good. A man with a need for an attractive spouse feels good whenever he looks at his attractive wife. In fact, that's what emotional needs are all about. When one of his emotional needs is met, he feels fulfilled. And when it's not met, he feels frustrated. It may sound immature or superficial, but it is a fact that most men have a need for an attractive wife. They do not appreciate a woman for her inner qualities alone. They also appreciate the way she looks. Every man wants his wife to look attractive, of course. Any woman can enhance her attractiveness to her husband. There are plenty of books, videos, diet programs, and exercise programs to help women and men to get in shape, dress in style, and so on. So, Dr. Harley suggests 6 major areas that are particularly important in staying or becoming attractive. So, let's look at them together now. Right. So, Dr. Harley shares 6 major areas that are particularly important in staying or becoming attractive. So, if you are attractive, you need to stay attractive. If you have lost your attractiveness, lost the appeal, you need to become. You need to regain this. All right? So, let's look at these 6 major areas. Number 1, the secret to weight control. The secret to weight control. He says, balance your intake of calories with the proper amount of exercise. There is no secret to weight and figure control. It takes discipline. So, if as a wife you would love to control your weight, maintain your figure, yes, there is no secret. You just need to be disciplined. So as a lady, you want to maintain your weight, yes, you want to control your figure, you must be disciplined. There are some things you are going to have to say, no, I'm not having that. You are going to have to get into an exercise program because you want to maintain your attractiveness for your husband. The truth is that weight control programs work only when they are a way of life. So you can't want to maintain your attractiveness and get into a program that is a 1 week program, 1 month program. Yes? 3 months, a 3 month program. And after that, you forget about it. So everything goes back to where it was. No. If you want to maintain your attractiveness, it has to be a lifestyle. Yeah. The weight control program that works is the one that is a lifestyle. Based on the facts of life, all bodies, including female ones, are machines that burn fuel. When the body takes in too much fuel and doesn't burn it off, it stores the fuel in the form of fat. So if you want to avoid getting fat, you must burn all the fuel your body takes in. To lose weight, you must burn even more fuel. Fuel is what you eat, and you burn it with exercise. It is easier to eat less than it is to exercise more. So you may have to look at how much you're eating, or you need to look at what you're eating. So, my challenge to all the wives tonight: eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Keep your refrigerator with lots of them. Yes? And I hear some wives that pass if you know how expensive fruits and vegetables are. Yeah? Yes. But you know what? Keep your intake of sugar and fat to a minimum. Leave the fried chicken alone and the fried things alone. Leave the ice cream and the cake alone. You have to maintain your attractiveness. Your husband needs that. And don't ignore the call. Don't ignore the observation. It's very important. Some wives spend their times policing their husbands and policing to make sure no other woman is coming near and all kinds of things. And sometimes, in a sense, that is good too. But sometimes it's wasted energy. Because if you spend time being who you are to be, yeah, sometimes that is enough policing. But sometimes people ignore their responsibility and are paying attention to others. We don't want you to do that. We want all the wives to really take charge of their bodies. Take charge of yourself. Take charge of your life. All right? And we want you to keep your intake of sugar and fat to a minimum. If you are tempted to snack on ice cream, which has a lot of calories, don't even bite. And if other people bite, ask them for a bottle of water. Yes, because you are on a mission. You have a husband. God has blessed you with your own husband, your own man. And you have a responsibility to make sure that you are satisfying him and you're maintaining your body for your husband. All right. So, you need to get into an aerobic exercise program because that will help you lose even more of the extra pounds while keeping your heart and lungs healthy. So, we may have to ask those who are listening to me tonight and are saying, well, Pastor, I believe this tonight's topic is for me and I need to do something about it. We may have to arrange an aerobics exercise class at church where people can come, probably a half an hour each morning. Yes? So we may have to ask Brother Richard to arrange that so we can have a program. All right? So, of course, they have a number of programs on the internet, and you can, right there in the comfort of your home, look at that. But probably, with company, you may be more motivated. So, we'll see. Number 2, use makeup to your advantage. Dr. Harley says you're to use makeup to your advantage. All right? I want to share just a little paragraph, a little story about Rose. Rose, Dr. Harley says, Rose came into my office looking more like a clown than a well made up woman. Although she might have had some attractive features, they lay buried beneath a mass of colors, vying for attention. Although obviously she had tried hard to make herself attractive, something had gone wrong. She hadn't used the makeup to her advantage. And so Dr. Harley says one way to maintain your attractiveness for your husband is to control your weight. Another way is to use makeup to your advantage. So if you are somebody, if you are an individual who uses makeup, then you know what? Get professional advice to assist you in the process. Be certain that in addition to being something you like, be certain that in addition to being something you like, your husband also finds the cosmetic changes attractive. Keep in mind that your objective is meeting his need for your physical attractiveness. So you must pay attention. You must pay attention to how you look for your husband. And so if your husband does not like makeup, keep that away. And if he likes you to use a little, use it in the right way. And if he doesn't mind your creativity with it, be creative with it. But make sure, yes, it is done nicely, that you are attractive. You're attractive to him. Number three, Dr. Harley says, get a hairstyle he likes. Get a hairstyle he likes. And so if a wife wants to maintain her attractiveness, she has to pay some attention to what her husband likes, including the hairstyle. Dr. Harley says hairstyle and color are another sensitive area for women. Yearly they spend lots of money on dyes, rinses, shampoos, permanents, sets and cuts. He says his question. Right. So he says his question is why and for whom? If a wife spends all that time and money to please her husband and to achieve something she finds comfortable, well and good. But if she lets some hairdresser talk her into something she knows her husband won't like, she has begun to work against herself and her marriage. So if you know your husband don't like the colors, if you know your husband don't like you get rid of your hair, if you know your husband, please don't do what you know he does not like. Because remember, your husband has a need for you to be attractive. Okay? So you must pay attention. All right? If your husband doesn't like a certain hairstyle and color, abandon it. In fact, consult with him ahead of time and get his opinion before ever getting a different style or coloring. After all, the whole idea is to be attractive to him. If a husband likes something his wife can't tolerate, negotiation is in order. Yes? So among the many hairstyles available, there must be one on which you both can agree. If a wife understands her husband's need for an attractive mate, she will work with him to achieve that goal. Number 4, clothes showcase the woman. Yes? So, clothes showcase the woman. As with cosmetics and hairstyle, the same principle applies. Dress to be attractive to your husband. So if your dressmaker can't make it, change him or her. If the dressmaker can't make the clothes that fit you well, change the dressmaker. Wear only clothes that accentuate you. When we say wear clothes that accentuate you, that word accentuate means that which makes you look good. Did you know that there are clothes to fit all body type and the figure you have? Yes. You must wear clothes that accentuate you, make you look good. Listen to this piece of advice from Dr. Harley. Yes. He says, a woman should pay as much, if not more, attention to her choice of nightgown or pajamas as she does to what she wears in public. When she dresses for bed, she dresses strictly for her husband. Wearing old and bedraggled night clothes, curlers, and applying various products to your face will only be a turn-off. Wearing a worn-out nightgown to bed because nobody will see it misses an important point. One very special and important person does see it. So why not wear something attractive? Your husband will certainly appreciate it. So you need to get something. Yes? So those old nightgowns that no longer cut it. Yes? Get rid of those, man. Yes. Get some nice, hot things to replace it. For your husband needs you to be attractive. So, be attractive. Go to your bed attractively attired. Yes. All right. Number 5. Dr. Harley says, when is cosmetic surgery worth it? He says, use diet and exercise to get the figure you want. Not hip reduction or tummy tucks. He says breast implants are usually inadvisable for a number of reasons. He says some are dangerous and have side effects. So, you know what? Diet and exercise are what you really need to get involved with to maintain your figure or get the figure you want. However, he says dental correction may prove helpful, which may include wearing of braces or other orthodontia. It improves your appearance, self-esteem, as well as your health. So whatever you are desirous of doing to improve your attractiveness, one rule of thumb is that you should discuss it with your husband, all right, and get his input. And then number 6, he says, what about personal hygiene? What about personal hygiene? I want to share another little story with you. Yes? The story of Kent and Jessica. All right? So Dr. Harley shares this with us. To be honest, I've hardly ever counseled a woman who needed help with her personal hygiene. But I've helped many men with this problem. So, men, listen up carefully. All of us, eh? Since the need for an attractive spouse is sometimes a wife's need, hygiene is a subject that should be addressed in this chapter. So Kent was a very successful farmer. He was worth millions. When he asked Jessica to marry him, all she could think about was his millions. He was a decent man, but having been single for the better part of his adult life, had paid little attention to his appearance. Jessica thought she could overlook his outward appearance and love him for his inner qualities and his money. After they were married, however, she found his appearance turned her off. When they came for their first appointment, Kent complained that Jessica refused to make love to him. She came up with every excuse, and he finally thought a counselor might help. I just can't have sex with him, she explained. When I married him, I thought he would be more appealing to me. But it's getting worse. He'll probably divorce me, but I just can't do it. When Kent came into the office, his body odor just about knocked me over, Dr. Harley says. He had been chewing tobacco and his teeth were caked with residue. His hair was a mess and his clothes looked like he'd slept in them. I had counseled many men who had trouble keeping themselves clean, but Kent was beyond anything I could have imagined. She doesn't like sex, was his explanation for the problem. I had a different theory. I think I can help you, I replied. But you will have to do something I recommend. Within a few weeks, I think your problem will be solved. So I gave him this assignment, 4 assignments. 1, take a shower every morning and evening. With Jessica's help, buy a new wardrobe of clothes. Let Jessica pick out clothes for you to wear each day. Never wear anything you've worn the day before unless it has been washed. Go to a dentist and have your teeth cleaned. Never chew tobacco in Jessica's presence and brush your teeth before being with her. Comb your hair and shave every morning before breakfast. Fulfilling this assignment was quite a commitment for Kent. He was used to going weeks without a shower. He wore the same pants and shirt day after day, and he hadn't been to a dentist since he was a teenager. But he agreed to do it, believing me when I said it would help his sexual relationship with Jessica. Then I gave Jessica her assignment. Shop with Kent for clothes. Pick out something for him to wear every day and see to it that the clothes are clean. I also asked her if she would be willing to make love to him every day for just 1 week after he followed through on his assignment. A deal was struck and Kent was off to the dentist and clothing store. He kept his part of the bargain and Jessica kept hers. After he had clean teeth, clean clothes, and a clean body, Jessica made love to him once a day for a week. At their next appointment, I could hardly recognize Kent. What a transformation! And they were holding hands in the waiting room, all on their own without my counsel. They had made a long-term agreement. She would make love to him if he would keep himself clean. Their sexual problems were over. The hygiene problem of most men are not as extreme as Kent's, but lesser problems can still have a devastating effect on wives, especially while making love. A woman wants to be physically close to the man she loves, especially if he looks and smells good. So, a challenge to the men. We want the men to ensure that we are clean men. We pay attention to hygiene. Yes? Clean clothes, clean body, clean teeth, clean hair. We want. So, men, we have a responsibility as well. And ladies, let me just put in something here. Because if you're home for the entire day, all right, and you're home working, yes, taking care of the home and fixing up and doing all kinds of things, yes? And you know your husband is coming home in the evening. a challenge I want to throw out to you. When you know your husband will get home, I want to challenge you. Make sure you have a bath, put on some nice clean clothes and perfume, and be ready to greet your husband. Don't let your husband come home in the evening, almost in the evening, in the night, to a sweaty wife and all of that. Come on, man. You have to, yeah, you have to deal with that, all right? So that's my challenge to you as well. Because I'm challenging the men, I'm challenging the wives. Because why? Wives need their husbands. Husbands need their wives to be attractive. And we want our women to be attractive for their husbands. So being attractive meets a need. Attractiveness is what you do with what you have. Every woman would benefit from evaluating each aspect of the image she projects. You must evaluate your posture, your hairstyle, your clothing, your gestures, your makeup, and your weight. Every wife should ask her husband for his honest appraisal, and if possible, consult professionals or trustworthy friends. The wife should then decide where change is needed and set realistic goals for making those changes. For some, the changes may be completed in a week. For others, probably a month. For others, a year or more. But when you get the feedback from your husband or your friends or a professional, you must commit yourself to change. Yes? And whatever changes are necessary, you need to make sure you engage in that. I have a couple stories for you tonight, you know. So I want to share this one with you. I want to call her Lynette, all right? Dr. Harley says Lynette, a client who suffered from depression, dramatically demonstrated how a woman can profit from an improved appearance. This exceptionally bright and charming woman wanted dates with men who were truly on par with her, but she had not given her appearance the attention it needed. I reminded her how important appearance is to most men. Granted, it was not one of her emotional needs. She could not have cared less how the men she dated looked, but it was likely that the man of her dreams would have a need for a wife who was physically attractive. And if she wanted to attract him, she would have to meet this need. Her metamorphosis took 6 months to accomplish. At the end of that time, Lynette was a stunningly attractive woman. Men that she already knew and liked started dating her. Her depression disappeared entirely, and she no longer needed counseling. So, Dr. Harley says, when I saw Lynette for the last time, I reminded her not to make the same mistake that Nancy had made. Shaping up to attract a man and then letting herself go after marriage. Lynette knew that the changes she had made to attract a husband would have to be permanent because the emotional need she could meet by being attractive would continue to be there after marriage. And so, being attractive meets a need. Being attractive meets a need. All right? I want to just share this with you, and then I'm going to ask the wives some questions. I'm going to ask the men some questions. And then, all right. If you know how to make your spouse feel good, doesn't it make sense to go ahead and do it whenever you can? A wife's attractiveness is often a vital ingredient to the success of her marriage. And any wife who ignores this notion, for whatever reasons, risks disaster. This is true for some men as well. The changes in appearance. Dr. Harley says, I've witnessed in my clients have not only met spouses' needs, but have also made clients feel much better about themselves. So when you make changes, you do not only meet the needs of your spouse, but you feel good about yourself as well. The changes have made them more successful in business and have improved their health. It's one of those efforts that pays dividends in ways that go far beyond the marriage itself. When a woman sees the response of her husband to her improved appearance, she knows that she's made the right decision because it has met one of his deep and basic needs. Her account in his love bank will get a substantial deposit every time he sees her. Wives, let me ask you 3 questions tonight. Let me ask you 3 questions. 1. Well, I'm asking you these questions, but really, they are questions that you are to ask yourself. All right? Number 1. First question you should ask yourself. Do I take my husband's need for me to be attractive seriously? If not, why not? Number 2. So let me repeat number 1. Do I take my husband's need for me to be attractive seriously? If not, why not? Number 2. Does my husband really like the way I look most of the time? Do I? Number 3. How much care do I take about the way I look? How is my figure? Do I use cosmetics to good advantage? Do I change my hairstyles from time to time to please my husband by giving him a little variety in the way I look? Let me read that one again. How much care do I take about the way I look? How is my figure? Do I use cosmetics to good advantage? Do I change my hairstyles from time to time to please my husband by giving him a little variety in the way I look? And I have some questions. For the man. Husbands, here are 4 questions you must ask yourself. Am I willing to own up to this as one of my most basic needs in my marriage? That I need my wife to be attractive? If not, why not? Number 2. Has my wife's appearance declined since our wedding? Do I really like the way she looks, or do I just say I do? 3. If my wife told me she was willing to change anything she could about her physical appearance, what would I ask her to change? And why? Number 4. How does my physical appearance affect my wife? Does she like it? Do I get lazy about the way I look? You have to ask yourself. And then here are 2 things to consider together. 1, sit down together with your collection of photographs, especially those from the days when you were dating and from your wedding day. Compare those with the way you look today. Do you need to make some changes? How? Share your answers to the above questions with each other. Be respectful, but be honest. Yes. And so we want you to have a conversation. why are we talking about the basic needs of a man and the basic needs of a woman? Is because when the needs are met, the spouse who meets the needs of the other spouse becomes an irresistible spouse. What we're doing is building marriages, strengthening marriages, and we are having a conversation that is geared towards helping couples to make the very best of their marriage. We want every marriage to be the best it can be, and we don't want anybody to take anything for granted. Yes? And so we have looked at the fact that a man's third basic need, yes, is an attractive spouse. He needs a good looking wife. We talked about that tonight. I trust you got some food for thought and you are going to now put into practice what you have heard, because as a wife, you want to be an attractive wife. Yes, for your husband. Next week, Monday night, God's willing, we are going to look at the fourth need of the woman, of the wife. She needs enough money to live comfortably. Yes, she needs financial support. We're going to talk about that next week. So we can't afford to miss it. Yes. Let me close off this week with intimacy tip for the week from Julie Siebert. Intimacy tip for the week. All right, so this is the intimacy tip I'm leaving with you. Julie Siebert is a Christian blogger who blogs about marriage. She's on a mission to enrich marriages and intimacy. She specializes in intimacy in marriage. So she says 3 ways. Listen to this now, wives. Listen to this now, wives, carefully. 3 ways I became great in bed. 3 ways I became great in bed. 1, she says, I admitted what I didn't know. So Julie says, my first marriage was a disaster sexually. I didn't know what I didn't know. But even when there were inklings of cracks in the foundation, I wasn't proactive in getting help for our sexual disconnect. She said, so when I remarried, I was resolved I wasn't going to venture down a similar path. I was proactive in being intentional about sex. And I have to tell you, healthy intention is 3/4 of the recipe. Wives, you have to be intentional. You must purpose in your heart that you are going to be the best sexual partner for your husband. My goodness, it has to be intentional. All right. Once you both become intentional, because husband has to be intentional too, that he wants to be an excellent sexual partner for his wife. Yes. So once you both become intentional about nurturing sexual intimacy, together you can figure out any sexual hurdle and you can experience sexual greatness. So Julie says, I became great in bed because I wasn't afraid to admit and figure out what I didn't know. So you don't need to be an expert. You're married to your spouse. The both of you can figure it out. And the 2 of us together weren't afraid of figuring it out. Figuring out what we didn't know as a couple. I'm not just talking about sexual technique, although there is a fair amount of learning in that arena for sure. I also am talking about not flinching in the face of vulnerability and the emotional rawness that sex stirs. Some people shut down when sex starts to reveal their deep hunger for emotional oneness in marriage. But if you want great sex, you have to be willing to allow that vulnerability to take you somewhere great. The second thing she says that made her become great in bed, she says, I lowered my sexual inhibitions a lot. You know, those little reservations, because a lot of persons today, when they're growing up, sex was said to be dirty and bad, and you don't talk about these things. And so we grow up into adulthood, and we have all these inhibitions where we don't talk about certain things, and sex has to be middle night when light is turned off in darkness and all kinds of things. All these inhibitions. She says, I lowered. One of the ways that she became great in bed, she lowered her sexual inhibitions. So hear what she has to say here now. I think I lowered my inhibitions so much that I barely have any sexual inhibitions anymore. I see sex as this gift God meant for my husband and I to thoroughly explore and unwrap and enjoy in the exclusivity of our marriage. How we unwrap that gift is our own journey. What we do with our bodies and words in the privacy and holiness of our own lovemaking is not for others to scrutinize or debate. I promise you this, lowered sexual inhibitions will transition pretty quickly into profound sexual enjoyment if you let them. I became great in bed because I have so few sexual inhibitions. And then the third reason she gives for being great in bed, she says, I put high priority on my pleasure. Now hear me, she says, on this. I didn't prioritize my pleasure above my husband's. Rather, I enthusiastically embraced that my pleasure was a non-negotiable. Sex is for both of us. Sexual arousal and pleasure is for both of us. If you want to become great in bed, set the tone that both your pleasure and your spouse's pleasure matter, and then coach each other accordingly. It is not selfish to want to be turned on. It is not selfish to want to climax. And it's certainly not selfish to believe and expect that the marriage bed is an equal opportunity playground. It's for both of us. Not surprisingly, when you love your spouse deeply, yes, placing a high priority on your own pleasure actually motivates you to value your spouse's sexual pleasure as well. Why? Because it's a colossal turn on to bring sexual pleasure to the person you love. I became great in bed, Julie says, because I don't minimize the significance of my own pleasure, and that compels me to want my husband to experience intense pleasure too. It's fascinating to me that we think sexual greatness is something reserved for models or A-list celebrities. We carry around this idea that great sex is for other people out there, but not for us, average people right here. Nothing could be further from the truth. Great sex is for us right here. Thank you for joining me once again for another Monday night, couples night. Tonight we looked at the third basic need of a man. His need is for an attractive spouse. He needs a good-looking wife. Wives, your task, yes, is to become that attractive, amazingly attractive, beautiful woman for your handsome husband. That's your task. That's your role. And my prayer is that all our wives, all our husbands and all our wives will be great in bed. God created sex. Christians should have the greatest sex ever. Did you know marriage is the only place you can have sex without sin? Enjoy intimacy with your husband. Enjoy intimacy with your wife. God bless you. Have a great rest of the night and continue to enjoy your marriage. Continue to meet the needs of each other. When I found you, I found love. Yeah, true love. True love is still possible. True love is amazing. So until next time, next week when we get together, couples, have a great night with a great God. We'll go out with our theme song. And remember, single people before I go. Yes, tomorrow night, Singles Night, we have a special guest, Reverend Kamalio Burnett, a single man. He's serving in Japan now. And we're going to be talking to him about his role in Japan and his singleness. And he's going to be sharing with us. You cannot afford to miss this time with Reverend Kamalio Burnett tomorrow night at 9. God bless.
When I found you, I found somebody who cares. When I found you, found my most intimate prayer. When I found you, I found what every heart dreams of. When I found you, I found love. When I found you, I found the rest of my life. When I found you, I told all others goodbye. When I found you, I saw my fears fly away like a dove. When I found you, I found love. When I found you, I found my fate in your arms. When I found you, I found no cause for